I watched my husband slip an envelope into my purse during my sister's reception. Thought it was a sweet note. When I opened it during the toast, divorce papers fell onto my lap. Everyone stared, but what I said next made him drop to his knees, begging me to stop. Before we dive into this story, if you love real-life drama with unexpected twists, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Trust me, you won't want to miss how this ends. Now, let me take you back to the worst and best day of my life. My name is Tasha, and 6 years ago, I married the man I thought was my soulmate. Kevin was everything I'd ever wanted: smart, funny, ambitious. We met in college during a political science class, and I swear it was like something out of a movie. He made me laugh during boring lectures. We studied together at coffee shops until they kicked us out at closing time. When he proposed on the beach, where we had our first date, I didn't even hesitate. I said yes before he finished asking the question. For years, we were that couple. You know the one. The couple that everyone else looked at and said, relationship goals. We finished each other's sentences. We had inside jokes that made us crack up in public. We talked about buying a house with a big backyard for the kids we'd have someday. Life felt like it was unfolding exactly the way it was supposed to. But somewhere around year 5, things started to shift. It was subtle at first. Kevin started coming home later from work. His phone was always face down on the table. When I'd ask about his day, he'd give me one-word answers and turn on the TV. I told myself it was just stress. He'd gotten passed over for a promotion, and I knew that hurt his pride. I tried to be understanding. I gave him space. I thought we'd work through it like we always did. Then my baby sister Brittany got engaged. Brittany is 4 years younger than me, and we've always been close. When she asked me to be her maid of honor, I cried happy tears. Planning her wedding became this beautiful distraction from whatever was happening in my own marriage. I threw myself into dress fittings and cake tastings and seating charts. Kevin seemed relieved that I was busy. He didn't have to pretend to be present when I was running around handling wedding stuff. The week before the wedding, things got weirder. Kevin insisted we drive separately to the rehearsal dinner, said he had a work thing and might be late. His mother barely spoke to me at dinner, just gave me these strange, pitying looks across the table. Kevin's best friend Andre kept trying to pull him into the hallway for private conversations. I felt like everyone knew something I didn't, but I pushed the feeling down. This was Brittany's week. I wasn't going to let my paranoia ruin it. The wedding day arrived, and it was absolutely gorgeous. Outdoor ceremony, string lights everywhere, flowers that smelled like heaven. I walked down that aisle in my champagne-colored maid of honor dress, and for a moment, I forgot about everything wrong in my life. Watching my dad walk Brittany toward her future husband Malcolm made me sob. Happy tears, sad tears, all mixed together. I glanced back at Kevin, sitting in the last row, hoping to catch his eye and share the moment. He was staring at his phone. The reception was at this elegant venue, with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking a garden. Everyone was dancing, laughing, celebrating love. I was sitting at the wedding party table, watching Brittany and Malcolm have their first dance, when Kevin walked up to me. He was actually smiling. For the first time in months, he looked at me the way he used to. My heart jumped a little. Maybe I'd been wrong. Maybe we were going to be okay. He leaned down and whispered in my ear, "I put something in your purse. Read it when you're alone." Then he kissed my cheek and walked away. I remember touching my face where his lips had been, feeling hopeful. Maybe it was an apology letter. Maybe he'd finally written down the feelings he couldn't say out loud. Maybe this was him trying to fix us. About 20 minutes before I was supposed to give my maid of honor speech, I excused myself to the bathroom. I grabbed my purse, locked myself in a stall, and opened the envelope Kevin had slipped inside. My hands were actually shaking with anticipation. I thought I was about to read something beautiful. Divorce papers slid out onto my lap. Not a rough draft, not a discussion starter. Fully prepared legal documents with little sticky tabs showing where I was supposed to sign. There was a notepaper clipped to the front in Kevin's handwriting. Sign these quietly. Don't make a scene at your sister's wedding. We'll talk Monday. I couldn't breathe. The bathroom walls felt like they were closing in. My vision got blurry, and I realized I was crying so hard that my makeup was running down my face in black streams. 6 years of marriage, and this is how he wanted to end it, at my sister's wedding, with a note telling me to stay quiet so I wouldn't embarrass him. My bridesmaid Denise knocked on the stall door. Tasha, girl, you okay in there? You're on in 5 minutes. I couldn't even answer. She pushed the door open and found me sitting on the toilet lid, fully dressed, holding divorce papers and sobbing. She didn't ask questions. She just grabbed paper towels, wet them down, and started fixing my face. Whatever it is, she said quietly, you're stronger than it. You hear me? I nodded, but I wasn't sure I believed her. See, there was something Kevin didn't know, something I'd been planning to announce at the family brunch the day after the wedding. 3 weeks earlier, I'd gone to the doctor because I was feeling tired and nauseous. I thought maybe I had the flu. The doctor came back with different news. I was pregnant, 8 weeks along. This wasn't just any pregnancy. A year before, I'd miscarried at 12 weeks. It nearly destroyed me. The doctor told me this new pregnancy was high risk because of my history. I needed to be careful, avoid stress, take it easy. I'd been walking on eggshells for 3 weeks, waiting for the right moment to tell Kevin. I wanted it to be special. I wanted to see joy on his face instead of the blank expression he'd been wearing for months. Now I was standing in a bathroom, holding divorce papers, carrying a baby he didn't know existed. Denise helped me fix my makeup enough that I didn't look completely insane. I folded the divorce papers and tucked them into my bra. The DJ's voice boomed through the speakers. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear from the maid of honor, Tasha. Everyone started clapping. I walked out of that bathroom on shaking legs. When I got back to the reception, I saw Kevin standing near the bar with a woman I recognized from stories he'd told me. Janelle, his coworker, the one he'd been staying late with at the office. She had her hand on his arm, laughing at something he said. The way she touched him was too familiar, too comfortable. Everything clicked into place. The late nights, the distance, the sudden rush to divorce me at my sister's wedding, so he wouldn't have to feel guilty when he made things official with her. My best friend Monique caught my eye from across the room. She could read my face like a book. She started walking toward me, concerned. But I shook my head. The DJ was already handing me the microphone. Brittany and Malcolm were smiling up at me from their sweetheart table, so in love, so trusting, that I was about to give a beautiful speech about happily ever after. I took the microphone. My hand was trembling so hard that the whole room could probably see it. Kevin was whispering something to Janelle. They were moving toward the exit, like they were planning to leave early together. I started the way I'd rehearsed. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love is... My voice cracked. I cleared my throat. Love is standing next to someone and choosing them every single day, even when it's hard. I saw my mom nodding, wiping her eyes. Brittany and Malcolm, you two have something so beautiful. You communicate, you support each other, you're honest. Kevin was almost at the door now, Janelle right behind him. But love also requires honesty, I continued, my voice getting stronger, and truth, and respect. Kevin stopped walking. Something in my tone made him turn around. So I need to be honest right now, even though this isn't the moment I would have chosen. I reached into my dress and pulled out the divorce papers. You could hear people gasp. Brittany's face went from confused to horrified. My mother stood up from her chair. My husband just handed me these, I said, holding them up so everyone could see. At my baby sister's wedding. Divorce papers. The room went completely silent. You could have heard a pin drop. Kevin's face went white. Janelle took a step back from him. Kevin wanted me to sign them quietly, I said. My voice wasn't shaking anymore. He didn't want me to make a scene. He wrote me a note telling me we'd talk about it Monday. Like our marriage was a business deal we could table for later. Tears were running down my face, but I didn't wipe them away. But there's something he doesn't know. Something I was going to share with everyone tomorrow at brunch. Kevin started pushing through the crowd toward me. Tasha, don't. I'm pregnant, I said into the microphone. The words echoed through the speakers. 8 weeks pregnant, with what would have been our first child. I watched my words hit him like a physical blow. He stopped moving. His mouth opened, but nothing came out. Janelle's face went pale, and she backed toward the door. Would have been, I repeated, letting that sink in. Because a year ago, I lost a baby at 12 weeks. Kevin was there. He held me in the hospital. He promised me we'd try again when I was ready. Well, I was ready. And God gave us another chance. A miracle, the doctor called it. Because of my history. High risk, but possible. My mother was crying now. My father stood up, his face dark with anger. Kevin tried to come closer. Tasha, I didn't know. I swear I didn't. I held up my hand. You didn't know because you stopped asking. You stopped caring. You stopped seeing me. You were so busy deciding our marriage was over that you never once asked me how I was feeling or what was going on in my life. I looked around the room at all our family and friends. He chose to hand me divorce papers at my sister's wedding instead of sitting me down like an adult and talking to me like I mattered. Andre grabbed Kevin's arm, holding him back. Kevin was shaking his head, saying, "No, no, no," over and over. Janelle had completely disappeared. So yes, Kevin, we'll talk Monday, I said. And I'll sign your papers. Not because you want me to, but because I deserve someone who doesn't give up on me without a fight. Someone who doesn't humiliate me in front of my family. Someone who doesn't quit when things get hard. I handed the microphone back to the DJ and walked off the floor. My dad intercepted Kevin before he could follow me, and I heard raised voices behind me as the groomsmen escorted him outside. Brittany ran after me, crying, saying she was so sorry. I hugged her and told her it wasn't her fault. She deserved her perfect day, even if mine was falling apart. The next hour was chaos. Kevin's mother tried to explain that she'd pushed him toward divorce because she thought I was holding him back from his potential. Andre pulled me aside and told me Janelle was never romantic, that Kevin had misread their friendship in his own guilt and confusion. Apparently, Kevin had felt like a failure after I got promoted at my job while he was stuck in the same position. He convinced himself I deserved better. Instead of talking to me about his feelings of inadequacy, he'd just decided to end things before he could disappoint me more. It would have been almost touching if it wasn't so completely stupid and hurtful. I left the reception early. Denise and Monique drove me home and stayed with me while I packed a bag. I couldn't stay in the house Kevin and I had shared. I moved back in with my parents that night, divorce papers sitting on the passenger seat of my car. Kevin sent flowers the next day. And the day after that, he called 50 times. He showed up at my parents' house, and my dad threatened to call the police. He sent letters that I didn't open. He begged Andre and Monique to talk to me. Everyone said the same thing. He didn't know about the baby. He made a terrible mistake. He wanted to fix it. But here's the thing I realized in therapy over the next few months. It didn't matter that he didn't know about the baby. He was willing to divorce me either way. He'd given up on our marriage without ever giving me a chance to fight for it. He'd humiliated me at a family event instead of respecting me enough to have a private conversation. And when things in his life got hard, his solution was to run away instead of leaning on his partner. That's not love. That's cowardice. I signed the divorce papers 2 weeks after Brittany's wedding. They were finalized 3 months later. I'm 7 months pregnant now, living with my parents while I save up for my own place. It's a girl. I'm naming her after my grandmother. Kevin has been going to therapy, and we've arranged supervised visits for after she's born. He'll pay child support. He'll be in her life if he proves he can be stable and consistent. But he won't be in mine. Not as a husband, not as a partner. That door is closed. Brittany and Malcolm just celebrated their 6-month anniversary. She apologized 100 times for her wedding being ruined. And I told her 100 times that she had nothing to apologize for. If anything, her wedding gave me the audience I needed to finally stand up for myself. Sometimes the truth needs witnesses. Some people think I was wrong to make that speech. They say I should have handled it privately, that I embarrassed Kevin and myself, that I made Brittany's day about my drama. Maybe they're right. I don't know. But what I do know is this. Kevin handed me those papers in public, at a family event, expecting me to swallow my pain and stay silent for his convenience. He made the choice to bring our private business into that space. I just refuse to handle it on his terms. My daughter kicks me as I'm telling you this story, like she's reminding me she's here. She's the good thing that came from the worst day of my life. And I'm not going to teach her to stay quiet when someone disrespects her. I'm not going to raise her to protect the feelings of people who don't protect hers. I'm going to show her that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is tell the truth, even when your voice shakes, even when everyone is watching, even when it would be easier to stay silent. They say don't air your dirty laundry in public, but my dirty laundry was being forced on me at my sister's wedding. Sometimes the most honest thing you can do is refuse to be silent when someone tries to silence you. I'm not proud of how it happened. The timing was terrible. The setting was worse. But I'm proud that I stood up for myself. I'm proud that I didn't sign those papers quietly in a bathroom stall like Kevin wanted. I'm proud that my daughter will grow up knowing her mother has a spine. If this story resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe for more real stories about life, love, and finding yourself when everything falls apart. Drop a comment telling me, would you have handled this differently? Be honest. I can take it. And remember, your story isn't over just because someone else quit reading. My story sure isn't. Thanks for listening to mine. See you in the next one.